anal probes, why June won't play Monopoly Go, and we once again go into the world of M. Night Shyamalan. All this and more on a brand new How Did This Get Made? Last looks, hit the theme.
How did this get made? Trash can fires in Jacob's ladder. Started out bad, now it's getting badder. Jason Statham, Angelina. Down at the Largo is where I seen her. How did this get made? Tall John Shear and Jason Zeus. Balcony monsters about to puke. June Diane asks what's its mission, and where the butt starts is another question. How did this get made? How did this get made? How did this get made?
Hello, all my little doctors. I'm your host, Paul Scheer, and welcome to How Did This Get Made? Last Looks, where you, the listener, get to voice your issues on Communion, a movie that Discord user Dove thinks could have been called Close Encounters of the Probed Hind. Dove, very good. I like that. Thank you, Dove, for that alt title. Remember, if you have an alt movie title or a tagline, submit it to us on our Discord, and I might just read it on the show. Or I'll scroll until I find a better one. So let that be a challenge to you. Step up. Be a dove. All right, coming up on today's episode, we got so much to talk about. June Diane Raphael will be joining me today to talk about board game storage and more. Look, I'm going to give you some tips and tricks in just a little bit. So if you got card games, you got board games, you're going to want to hear this, but more importantly, you're going to want to hear from June. We are also going to give you corrections and omissions on Communion, a movie that I visited the set on when I was a child. I detail it in my book, Joyful Recollections of Trauma. So I know a lot about this movie, so you got to really get up early to get one over on me. Plus, we will talk about, or I should say, reveal the movie for next week's episode. But first, do you live in Philly? Do you live outside of Philly? Well, come to see us on November 16th at the Miller Theater. That's right. How Did This Get Made is back in Philly, and we want you there. So go to hdtgm.com to get your tickets. And my group with Jason, we do improv. Jason Manzukis, myself, Nicole Byer, Carl Tart, Rob Hubel, Seth Morris, so many great people. Lisa Gilroy, Phil Augusta Jackson. We all perform improv. We perform under the moniker. We perform under the name Dinosaur, and we will be in Boston and DC on November 20th and November 22nd. Our Brooklyn shows are already sold out, so you can come see us in Boston and DC. Every night is a different show. And what a cast. What a fun time. All right, people. Let's get into it. All right, last week we talked at length about Communion. Well, we had questions, and we might have even missed a few things, although I doubt it. Here is your chance to set us straight. Fact check us, if you will. It is now time for corrections and omissions.
Correction, omissions, correction. Bullshit with a new addition. Correcting the wrong information. Correction, omissions, correction.
Thank you, Chris Cheney, for that amazing theme song. Let's go to the Discord. Mitch Kappa. Oh my God, am I just getting this right now for the very first time that you are Mitch Kappa from the movie Old? I love it. Per the flashback to young Whitley, it seems like the aliens have been around for a minimum of 35 years and presumably have been abducting people throughout that entire time. Are they learning anything new from the anal probe thing at this point? Well, Mitch, chunk style. That's not for us to figure out. Maybe that's how they clone people. Maybe they need something from up in the butt. We don't know. We don't know what that probe does. Could be getting DNA. Could be analyzing things. Could be for a human farm on a different planet. Mitch, don't question the probe. Anyway, let's move away from probing and get to Danny the Wall, who writes, So the bit with Whitley smelling the creature is an improv. In the original book, it's an important detail for Whitley, who writes about how he felt panicked when they were examining him. And they asked, "What can we do to make you feel more comfortable?" And he replied he wanted to smell them. The scent was like wet cardboard and cinnamon and became a touchstone for his memories later, and something that was likely meant to ground his experience. Well, Danny, I appreciate that. And by the way, wow. But I think what we were saying was Chris Walken kind of just improvised around that idea, because those doctors weren't saying like, "Hey, how can we help you?" He just started to smell them. But yes, interesting. So I guess when Whitley wanted to go back to that time, he'd wet down some cardboard and sprinkle some cinnamon on it. Well, there you go. Let's go to the phones.
Hi, Paul. This is Ruben in Pacifica, California, and I am calling about your meeting with Christopher Walken on the set of Communion. Now, famously, Christopher Walken and his wife have been married forever, but they do not have children. And in the movie Communion, Christopher Walken really leans into the sort of the dad aspects of his character. And I wonder, do you think that he wanted to meet you as a small child in order to inform him about what his character may be like when he is in the presence of a child? Food for thought, and yet another way that Paul Scheer has made the movie Communion a little deeper. Love the show.
Wow. Ruben, you might be right. Maybe I was the son. I would be better than that kid in that movie. Fuck that kid in that movie. Yeah, that's right. I gave him that juice, that father juice. That sounds weird and gross. Okay. John from Massachusetts, what do you got?
Hi, Paul. This is John. I was actually in the front row for the Communion show, and it was a great night. But I have a question about the movie. What are the logistics of his anal probing? Because the doctors approach not only from the front, but at a weird angle, and Christopher Walken is clearly sitting down. So just how did they get in there? Thanks.
Again, we can't ask questions about this probe, okay? You don't know. I don't know. We're using our human brains. We got to start using our doctor brains about this probe. Don't think of it so linearly. I mean, have we ever seen a probe that's attached to a wall like a vacuum cleaner? No. Don't put your human logic on this. Don't wreck it, John from Massachusetts. Come out to the Boston show when we do Dinosaur there. I want to make sure that we set you straight. All right. Allison, what do you got?
Hi, Paul. This is Allison calling in regards to the Communion episode that just came out. I had the trauma of seeing Whitley Strieber present this movie live at IFC a few months ago, and it was unhinged. This sad little old man rambled on for a very long time about the chips that are still in his head, the meetings he has had with the aliens since the movie, and just in general how unhappy he was with Walken's performance because he felt that he did not take the aliens seriously enough and that he would rather have had Dan Aykroyd playing the role. My take is I think the movie would be cataclysmically boring without Walken because this guy was so up his own butt with the alienness of it all that at least Walken brought some life to the movie. And he multiple times went off on how the pilot episode of South Park ruined his life, made him go bankrupt, and forced him to sell more than one of his houses. I don't know. That's all. Bye.
All right. Everything about that is absolutely amazing. Oh my gosh. You know, Dan Aykroyd would have been great in that role, but you're right. He probably would have played it too dry. We needed to have some life, some energy in there. And I mean, I still go on record saying that this is Christopher Walken's best performance of all time. It really is amazing. And I don't know how South Park made him lose a house, but that's the type of person where I just listen and I shake my head. Yes, I don't ask follow-up questions. But, you know, Scott did want to point out that that episode of South Park is about Cartman getting an anal probe. So I guess anal probes weren't in vogue. Again, I don't want to get into the anal probes. All right, let's move away from it. Back to the Discord. Ghostbag writes, 2 scenes in this film that disturb me more than anything else. Number 1, early in the film before Whitley starts typing on his Zenith computer before it craps out on him. He inexplicably licks his fingers. The idea of Whitley getting saliva all over his keyboard made me throw up in my mouth a little bit. And then, well, yeah, first of all, you're right. That is gross. And also, I mean, what, to make his fingers move quicker? I mean, I don't think he was like wetting them down. I think it was like, just a quick, more of a, well, a lick is, he's not sucking on his fingers. Anyway, Ghostbag continues. In the cabin, the morning after the alien encounter, Whitley is placing pancakes on a plate by hand, not with a spatula, but by hand. And the pancakes were obviously not hot or even warm because he's grabbing these things by the fistful and tossing them onto a serving plate, which he sets in the middle of the kitchen table. So Whitley is serving his family and friends cold pancakes that got his finger-licking hand all over it. Well, look, Ghostbag, I think this is going to go back to our friend Ruben, who, I think brings up the biggest part. Walken is not living that dad life. He's not living in the world that we know. So we can't expect him to understand how pancakes work. But I did notice that pancake scene because it's so bizarre. I get making pancakes for the table, but ugh. All right, so many great corrections and omissions this week, but I have to say the one that really nailed it for me was the person who made me look at this movie in an entirely different light. A movie that I guess now I feel solely responsible for. That's right. This week's winner is Ruben from Pacifica, California. Ruben, you get this theme. That's right. Nothing else, just that theme from John Steele. Thank you, John Steele, for that song. And now everything comes together. By the way, my book might still be on sale right now. It was on a major sale for Amazon Prime Days, 99 cents for the Audible book. Holy moly. Anyway, so now you can see how everything ties together. I am this movie is me. And you can be a part of this episode if you send us your songs to howdidthisgetmade@earwolf.com. We are accepting songs for corrections and omissions, just chat, and winner theme songs. So please remember, if you're going to record a song, keep it short. 15 to 20 seconds is best. And if you want to chime in with your own thoughts about the latest episode, hit up the Discord at discord.gg/hdtgm or call us at 619-PAUL-ASK. All right, coming up after the break, June is going to stop by for Just Chat, and then I will announce next week's big movie. All right, we'll be right back. People, hope you're checking out Matinee Monday. Every Monday, we are re-releasing an old How Did This Get Made episode. We're taking it out of the vault, putting it back into the stream. And this week's was one of my favorites, Van Helsing, with Seth Rogen, Ricky Lindholm, and Ben Blacker. Next week, we will continue our spooky re-releases with the 2007 Lindsay Lohan horror movie, I Know Who Killed Me, with the great Ken Marino. So keep on checking out all of our replays of our classic episodes every Monday. And without any further ado, it is time for a very special June edition of Just Chat. John Astonish, do your thing.
Jason and Paul, Just Chat. June and Paul, Just Chat. Tall John Shear, Just Chat. How did this get made? Last look, Just Chat.
June, welcome to a Just Chat. Always a pleasure to sit down with you here on a mini episode.
I'm happy to be here. And I just was thinking about the name, Just Chat. It's Just Chat. It implies that on other podcast shows, other mediums, that you're doing more than just chatting.
Well, this is...
What else could you be doing?
Well, but chatting is just...
Aren't podcasts all chat?
But maybe there's a premise around that chatting, right? Like,
I see
obviously,
what you're
How Did This
saying.
Get Made? We're chatting about a bad movie. A lot of interview shows, they're chatting about someone's career or something, and it goes off on tangents. We're saying this is full tangent. This is just chat.
Sounds like the deep dive.
Well, we've been doing it longer, so now speaking of which, can you tell people what has been going on with the deep dive? Because I have been loving being, first of all, a member. Am I essentially a staff member of Deep Dive?
Yeah, well, the deep dive, of course, we have our own, auxiliary sort of premium content over at the Deep Dive Academy, so that the podcast exists and is always there for consumption. But then for people who just need more, they head to the Deep Dive Academy and they can become students. And you are one of our valued faculty and published author and professor emeritus.
I am
You've taught many classes there.
very happy to teach classes there. I love everything that you're doing. And I also love, is it Friday at 3:00 when you go live?
Yes, but we're actually going live today. Sometimes that schedule changes a little bit, but we always update it.
Okay.
Yeah. So you've taught. I was actually thinking the other day, Paul. I was like, oh, I need to. Of course, talk about Just Chat. So, Paul, you taught a class on snack organization.
Yeah.
And you revealed our snack closet
At a
and how
point when
you,
I
like,
wasn't even fully prepared to, like,
and then that was upsetting to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
But, for the listeners of Just Chat, How This Get Made who don't know this, I completely ceded the kitchen organization over to Paul. And people were stunned by that when we moved into our new house, that I didn't have anything to do with the kitchen and where things were. The kitchen is not my domain, even though I cook more than you do, but I let you completely set it up. Now, the snacks you have categorized into sweet, salty.
No, I don't want to I don't want to get into all the
There's a whole
nitty-gritty.
grab and go section of just like,
Yes,
you're a
there's
kid, it's eye line, just grab and go. Like, don't talk to us
Right.
about it.
There's a chip shelf. There's a cereal shelf. There's also a
Interesting
chocolate.
that cereal's in snacks.
Well, where else could they be? It's our pantry. It's like, but again, that's our go-to. Snacks are, look, there's pasta in the pantry. I mean, there are snacks in there, but I'm just talking about, like, these are the
Right,
things.
I guess it's not a closet devoted to snacks, but the
No.
snacks section is very beautifully
large.
organized. And people want to talk about it.
Well, I thought,
Yeah.
I thought that you were going to maybe invite me on to talk about my board game organization.
I was. That's where I was
Okay.
going, was there's something else has been organized here in our home.
Yeah.
And I'm actually hosting a game night tomorrow night. I love playing cards. I'm learning tomorrow how to play mahjong for the first time.
Oh, wow.
At 5 p.m. That's a very important time. So I am using the game closet quite a bit, and it is in my office. It's more two cabinets, really. But you have found a new system that's an absolute game changer.
Well, the idea is games are bulky, and especially card games, you can fit the cards in the box whenever you're manufacturing that box and those cards for sale. But once you play with those cards, very rarely do they fit back in the box. It's not like a deck of playing cards, which always fit in the box, but the box will get a tear. Uno cards, tricky to get back in the box. Once you start, to get a little bit more, you're shuffling.
True. Especially with the instruction packet. Yeah.
So I have developed a system.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, go
Actually,
ahead.
I know this is your show, but I want to.
No, this is our show. How Did This Get Made is our show.
I forget sometimes. As I always say, I'm there without my own consent.
Yes.
I'm not always a willing participant.
I got you.
But what happened? Because it was getting pretty unruly. But what happened that you thought, I'm going to find a better way? Now, you are an innovator. You always have been. You and I created podcasting.
Yes.
As I always say.
Yes.
As a medium.
Don't look it up. Don't fact check us.
No one worry about it. Just accept that.
Yes.
We created podcasting. You've been thinking, you were ahead of Twitch before anyone. You're always at the forefront, always a beat ahead. So I'm just curious, because for me, I saw those two cabinets and I just thought, well, this is life. This is life, where I'm always going to be stuffing games in there. It's always going to be a nightmare to open up that cabinet. This is what it is. They say in Buddhism, like, you have to accept the struggle. And I accepted the struggle and thought that this is just what life has in store for me. What made you think that it could be different?
I'm always fine tuning. I'm always trying to figure out how to streamline things. I'm a big declutterer. I like, you know me, I like to hire, and I do it often, a dump truck to come to the house, and I have them, load up that dump truck, and we're right on the verge of another dump truck hiring because we have a pallet, we have a mattress, we have a lot of things. What you don't know about me is when you leave town, when you go away for more than one day, one night, it gives me total carte blanche to get into the nooks and crannies and try to figure something out. Because the way that I deal with things is I have to sometimes get it all out, see what I'm working with, and then put it back in. So it normally will take me about, I would say conservatively, about a day and a half to do a full rebuild.
And can I ask, were you even in that closet the game cabinets very often?
Yeah, whenever I wanted to go get card games or do anything, we go on trips or vacations. I'll tell you what the reason why. I was inspired to fix the cabinet was we went away on vacation. We bring card games to play with our kids.
Always, you gotta have cards.
And
always have. By the way, always have a deck of cards. I just want to say, because I want to hear the rest of this, babe. But just so you know, when I took our son to a soccer tournament in San Diego, I took the train, the express, and I sat in a group of 4 seats. And next to me, there were 2 lovely young women, probably in their late 20s, early 30s, who were just chatting the whole time, sitting across from each other. And they said, God, it would be so fun. I wish we had a deck of cards. And I had to say, I didn't want to interrupt, but I said, I'm so sorry. I have a deck of cards. Do you want to play?
There you
and
go.
they said, do you mind? And I said, it would be my greatest pleasure. I handed them a deck of cards. They handed them back before they got off. Always have a deck of cards at the ready.
I am right with you. And what I find, though, especially with kids, when we're bringing a deck of cards out, we're losing cards, we're shoving cards back in. A thing of cards are going in a purse. And I was like, there must be a better way to carry an open deck of Uno cards, to carry apples to apples, to carry a game that we like to play called Dutch Blitz.
Because lots of times we're bringing them to dinner, to establishments.
Yeah. And so I started looking online, and I found, because I had this idea that, the kids collect basketball cards. And I was like, what if we put regular cards in this, like kind of same system? And then I found,
I didn't know this.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I found that they actually sell these like little boxes on Amazon, little plastic boxes. They also have one in a more travel friendly size that is that's kind of water repellent. But I was like, this would be great to bring our cards in this because it will stay closed. We could always put them back in there. The kids can put it back in there. We're not going to lose these. It was really based on our trip. So that was my original intent. We have so many card games. And also the card games come in boxes that are way bigger than the actual cards that are necessary. And I was like, it's taking up so much space in this closet. Then in my card research, I found out there's actually these Tupperwares for board games that are like, they almost look like
it's like a, if I may?
Yeah.
It's like if you were to take a regular folder, any kind of folder for papers, and make it Tupperware. That's how thin
and you could put
these are.
You could put a Monopoly in there. Full game of Monopoly in there. You could put a full game. Every game that has a board and pieces, whether it's that train game, I forget the name of it right now. Ticket to Ride. Right. It all fits in these little things. So now we have a section of our board game closet that's like 10 stacks of these like little folders that are off to the side, and that would have. That's our whole.
That was the whole closet.
That's the whole closet.
It was the whole thing, and not only that, but every time you opened it, like things were falling on top of you.
It was like Uncle Buck. Yeah,
it was Uncle Buck. And a lot of times I would try to Tetris, and every once in a while you would go in there and try to Tetris it to make it all fit. But now we got all the space in the world. And
what I realized also was like we weren't grabbing the things that we needed, and it was hard to get certain things. And then also there has to be a purging that has to go on. It's like, look, we've lived in this house. I had been
sent a lot of board games too. I'm on, because the wonderful makers of poetry for Neanderthal, great game. Wonderful makers of poetry, Neanderthal, had heard me talking on the deep dive about how much both Jessica and I love that game. And so we actually played it on the deep dive. And so they started sending me a lot of games. Now, they started sending me an overwhelming amount I can't even keep up with.
No, there's been and there's a lot of dupes in there as well, but
we had to get right with what we were actually playing.
And I think we also have to like look at ourselves and go,
what's realistic?
Are we playing chess? We're never playing chess. And if we are going to play chess, I'll buy another chess thing, right? Like there are certain things that have never been opened. There's 2 games that I really want to play with you. But you'll never want to play them. So I have to find somebody else. But Cinephile is a really fun game where it's like 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, but you have a deck of playing cards instead. So you have to kind of build on your own hand with what you have. And there's a bunch of different games in there, which I think would be a lot of fun.
But I have a different taste a little bit. Like I like playing your classic. I'm more of a meat and potatoes. I want to play hearts. I want to learn mahjong.
Right.
I eventually want to learn bridge. I'll probably save that for my 50s. But you like more sort of narrative, and
I have a bunch of aspirational games, like a game called Disney Villains, which I've heard is amazing, but I can't find anyone to play that with me because
That's the saddest thing I've ever heard. By the way, I will play it with you. Don't ever say I can't find anyone.
You know what it is, and this is where
that breaks my heart.
Rich Sommer, Rich Sommer from Mad Men. He's been in a bunch of fantastic films and TV shows. Rich is a board game guy. And what was kind of amazing about Rich was back in the day, Rich would come over, or also even Tall John, a great guy, John Daly. And
of course.
Yeah, Tall John.
I thought for a second you meant Tall John Shear.
No, sometimes people go, don't you mean John Schroeder? Anyway, I'm not. But 2 Johns Don't Make a Right. That's their podcast where they just drive around and never make a right turn. But they could explain a game to you. And I think that's the fun of game night. Like when you do a game night to introduce new games, you need someone who has played the game, who can walk you through
That's why Sam Stone is coming over tomorrow at 5 p.m.
Okay, that's very exciting. So that kind of world is exciting to me. And I like that for those bigger board games that feel insane to do. But I will also say what is great now is that YouTube is really taken over on that. Like so much so that like, I think Exploding Kittens, they say, don't read these instructions, just go online and watch.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Well, like I actually learned how to play spades from watching YouTube. And I can't remember his name, but there's this one guy who does such great, and they're funny YouTube tutorials. And that was really helpful. Yeah, everything's on YouTube now. But, if you remember playing Dutch Blitz, when we first learned how to play Dutch Blitz, I had to watch a lot of YouTube tutorials. Now, I will say, and nobody else thinks this of me, but I believe, or at least they haven't said it, I am amazing at teaching people how to play a game. You've seen me teach how many people play hearts?
Many people. Now, I'm going to say this about you as a teacher. You are exceptionally good, but what I notice, and this has nothing to do about you, is you give out information on a need-to-know basis. And I think that's the actual right way to teach a game. But I see it happen time and time again. People don't want it on a need-to-know basis, but they do need it on a need-to. And that is
just ask them to trust the process.
Right. And that's the thing that is, they want to jump ahead. They want to just learn the first couple of, and so that's a lesson to everybody out there right now. So anyway, we've organized the game.
I do like, and by the way, so
yes,
for our listeners, I do like to win. I don't like playing games that are where you don't keep score, or collaborative games. That really freaks me out. That's fucking crazy town and willy-nilly and a lawless land that I don't want to be a part of.
You don't,
that's
you specifically don't like apples to apples, because apples to apples really plays upon a core concept that it is, the winner is chosen at random with no true reasoning.
No, thank you. Thank you.
So that,
but I will just want to say that I am going to, are all of the compartments that you bought, especially the slim ones, available on Amazon, or did you have to go elsewhere?
Yes, they're all available on Amazon.
Okay, so I'm going to link them, babe, to my Amazon storefront, which I haven't updated in a while. Okay. But I will start a special page just for Paul's picks.
Oh, wow. I get a part of the storefront. This is exciting.
Yeah. And
I'll send you
what I got. And our
listeners
can head there.
All right, I love that.
It's also been thrilling to label them.
Yes. Oh, first of all, I got a Brother P-Touch label maker, same day shipping. It was great. Brother P Touch.
But can I just say something that you and I have struggled with to the label makers?
Yeah.
Why don't they ever hold a charge?
Well, you know why that one didn't hold a charge.
No.
Remember, we had this whole conversation that the AAA batteries all were dead that Amazon sent. We got these AAA batteries, and we were like, why is nothing holding a charge? And then I took out a battery tester because I do have a battery compartment. That was another class I taught on the Deep Dive Academy about organizing your batteries.
That.
And
God, I need a whole. I got to link that one too, babe.
Well, you should definitely get in I'll show you my cereal boxes as well.
Okay.
But I took out my battery tester, which is often made fun of. Why would you even have that there? And I tested these AAAs, and none of them worked. That's why nothing was holding a charge. We were putting in dead batteries that had like an inkling of a charge, like just a smidge. So now once
I will say, I don't think that was the fault of the Amazon batteries.
I think they were probably there for too long.
Very long.
Okay, great. Well, that's it. Then you know what? You win some, you lose some. But at least I had those batteries there, and because I had a surplus of them, I was able to pull from the ones that were not dead, and we now have a working Brother P-Touch. All this to say,
and it was so hard to realize, like, oh, it was the batteries. It's like, at the end of the day, it was the batteries. I've already forgot.
Well, I mean, yeah, of course, but that's okay.
I was ready to blame it on the makers again.
June, we did succeed in just chatting. We just
chatted.
And
I just want to make a really quick announcement. Something's been bothering me, and it's that Jason Mantzoukas has told me a number of times to play Monopoly Go.
Yeah, I know you won't play it, and I have that sitting there waiting for it.
And it's not that I won't play it. It's that I haven't. Maybe we need him to teach us.
No, Monopoly Go is like so easy and fun. I understand how to play it. I would love to play it with you. And I think the boys would play. It's just basically it's taking Monopoly and making it into like a fun card game. Now, the games that you and I have really been stuck on is a game that Rich did give us that I think one time we tried to learn, which was like a Jack the Ripper gin rummy game.
No, we did learn it. I loved it.
That was really fun.
I'd go back to that. That was really fun.
It's labeled in the closet, ready to go.
That was really fun. I also really like Ticket to Ride.
I do too, but I don't ever see you pulling that out.
I know.
Now, look, people are probably thinking to myself, oh, well, what about when I have like a big board game? Like, I'm not saying this is a solution for all board games. Like, there's a couple of board games.
There's some errant ones that are just in boxes still.
Yes.
But boy, did we save space.
Oh, and actually it's organized because we can actually see all of our pieces. And just so people are asking, I don't put my playing cards in those. I have a box that all the playing cards go in. And those are just playing cards. Like, that's not Uno. That's not Dos. That's not Dutch Blitz. That's not, Harry Potter Uno. We have a lot of Uno.
Star Wars Uno.
Yeah, we're getting Uno all the time. It's all the same. But yet we've never been invited to Questlove's.
There's some differences in like the power cards.
There are. We've never been invited to a Questlove party where he plays a lot of these games. Jenga, Uno, all this sort of stuff. Maybe we should have a competitive thing. We have our own game night.
Well, I do have my own game night. I don't know if you seem to be not recognizing that.
I'm not really invited to it. That's why I don't.
You're not invited, but you do come down and you
I do some
chat.
bits.
You do some just chatting for a little bit. You always make yourself known,
but I also let you be.
Yeah, it's a ladies' night. I think though that if you wanted to introduce Monopoly Go, or if Jason wanted to introduce Monopoly Go, that's something I'd be open to, because I host a lot of guest professors.
Okay,
who can come teach.
All right. Well, I would love to bring a game in to game night one time.
Okay. Well, this has been so wonderful. And again, I'm going to put all these links. I got to do it right now on my storefront. I'll have a whole page for you.
And we'll put some links here on the How Did This Get Made as well. But we want to make sure that you get to June. All right. All right. June wants to get that sweet commission from her Amazon storefront. So Cody will link to June's Amazon storefront.
If that's okay. Listen, if you're going there anyway, might as well use my link.
Amen.
I'm an influencer and associate.
I've always wanted to set up one of those storefronts. I never got the patience to do it.
It's literally made for you.
I guess you're right. Maybe I'll do it.
Now, I'm not saying sales are coming in crazily, but like it's nice to have. I'm all about passive income.
Look, my sister-in-law, your sister has created, and we found this out on the slide, a fake name and puts out novelty T-shirts that we did not know about, and they are funny. And she's producing a lot of them. She's designing them, and and some work and some don't. And but it does make a difference because it's the numbers game.
Yeah, that's right. So
right.
we gotta be a little forward thinking about this, about our Rex.
All right, I like it, June.
Thanks for having me on.
June, the best. I would love to do more of these with you. Always a pleasure. Make sure that you're listening to the Deep Dive. You can also sign up for the Deep Dive Academy, and you can see June with me in New York and Philadelphia. New York is sold out, but we'll be in Philadelphia on November 16th. So we'll see you then.
And you also have some dinosaur shows coming up.
I do indeed. I'm going to talk about that plenty on this. They will know that if they're on the East Coast, they're going to come see Dinosaur. All right, everybody. Bye for now. Thank you, June, for stopping by Last Looks. Love when June pops by here to just chat. So we'll make sure it's just chat there. All right, so next week we will be going from Little Green Men to a serial killer's den. That's right. We will be revisiting the world of M. Night Shyamalan for the 5th time as we watch what I think is a damn classic, his 2024 thriller Trap, starring Josh Hartnett, Ariel Donahue, and Salika Shyamalan. I cannot wait. A breakdown of Trap's plot, a father and daughter see a pop concert, only to realize that they have entered the center of a dark and sinister event. Ooh, that's a nice, vague way of setting it up, and I appreciate it. All right. Rotten Tomatoes gives this film a 57% score on Tomato Meter. That is criminal. And A.A. Dowd for the Digital Trends website writes, this patently absurd thriller doesn't just strain credulity, it strangles it, wraps it in plastic, and leaves it rotting in a dumpster. Oh, A.A. Dowd, you didn't get it. Anyway, listen to the trailer for Trap.
This whole concert? It's a trap.
Be aware of what we're dealing with. He's going to be charming, sympathetic. To your nervous system, he'll be telling the truth.
Somebody help me, please!
He's going to try to use chaos to get by us.
What's going on, Dad?
Trap. I'm in control. Only in theaters August 2nd.
Trap is available to rent right now on Apple TV, Amazon Prime Video, YouTube, and Google Play, and it will be available to stream on Max starting October 25th. Separately, I encourage you all to check out Hoopla and Canopy and Libby, which are digital media services offered by your local public library, which will allow you to consume music, movies, TV, and audiobooks for free. All right, that is all, people. Thank you so much. If you listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please rate and review the show, and then please make sure that you are following us and have automatic downloads turned on. It helps the show, and we truly appreciate it. Visit us on social media at HDTGM, and I want to shout out the Action Jackson 5 for making our opening theme song. Thank you. We love it so much. A big thank you to our producers, Scott Sani and Molly Reynolds, and our movie-picking producer, Avril Halley, our associate producer, Jess Cisneros, and our engineer, Casey Holford. We will see you next week for Trap.